after a hectic 29 laps at Albert Park, can I get Oscar Piastri a points finish at his home race? The objective is to get over 1 point. Now, Piastri finished 8th in the real race, so all we're asking for is to get a point. Again, do I do it or not? We'll find out. But this was, this was a really interesting one. Again, you know, we're stuck behind Yuki Tsunoda, and our goal is to effectively get there and get into the points before these tyres run out, and try and avoid taking as many pit stops as possible. Whether I do that or not, I will leave up to the chat to decide, because I'm not sure. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. We'll find out. Here we go. We're going to go through.
About to begin.
Yeah, you can tell exactly what I'm going to do here. Wait for it.
I know
I'm going to cycle into visor mode. Let's go.
I enjoyed the fact you cycled that way instead of just going
I know.
Just one to the left.
Do you know what? I do it with the time speed as well, because I always click through 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, 16 times, rather than going to the left and just going straight to 16 times. I do it every time. I've been doing this for 2 years, and I still do that. I'm sure other people in the chat also click through every single speed option rather than going to the left. Right? Right, chat? Please? I saw somebody asking a question as well about F2 and F3 race results being visible on a weekend. That is something, again, that we had feedback on for 2022. We only had the drivers as like a roster in 22. So a little bit of growth there was that we decided that F2 and F3 championships should be simulated, right?
Yeah. So we simulate all of the races for them now, all of the sessions, sorry, I shouldn't just say races, because we simulate the practice, the qualifying as well.
Yes.
So they're all going on in the background while you're doing your races at obviously the appropriate weekends, because they don't do every Grand Prix. And then after the weekend you'll get a summary email of the results of any Formula 2 or Formula 3 races, who was on the podium, how people did. Or you can also jump in to view the standings, so you can see the championship positions, and also you can go through, as I say, the session result as you would for your own races. So for practice, for qualifying, the sprint race and the feature race, so it's all there. You can see what happens, and like we simulate it. So you know, some people might crash. You know, it's got all that kind of excitement that you'd get from the normal Formula 2 races, and it's really cool because it gives you, as you say, we had the drivers last year anyway, but now there's some context, I think, to their results. So you can look at that and you can kind of track that and see, like, I don't know, Teo Porchera, whoever it is. You know, I've seen him win a few races now, or maybe I'll scout him. Maybe I'll consider signing him for my team next season. So it's really nice to be able to track that stuff properly in the game, and we have some other special emails around the end of the championship as well, just to highlight those so you'll see who the champion is and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think what I really like about that is it kind of adds to the narrative of the game. So like you say, being able to follow a driver through F2 and like, oh yeah, they are doing really well, I'm going to scout them, see if they're keen for a contract or something like that. I think that's really, really cool. Yeah. So yeah, that again, something that was a big sort of feedback point, and I'm really glad to see that in there. And the drivers will develop based on those results, right? So how they perform in the F2 and F3 championships kind of leads into their development, right?
Yeah. So same as F1. Yeah. Obviously, having good results there will help boost their development, and also we are taking into account, you know, their kind of performance when we're simulating them. So obviously, the better drivers do better, but also like, if the Formula 1 qualifying was wet and the Formula 2 sprint race takes place at a similar time, the simulation would have been wet. So drivers with good adaptability, you might see them do better in that session. If a track's very, I don't know, cornering focused or braking focused, depending on the attributes that are important, that is reflected in the F2 and F3 sims as well. So you can get a bit of a taste for maybe where that driver's good as well before you scout them properly to consider hiring them. So yeah, there's a lot of information you can take from it.
Awesome. And this is me again. I really struggled here. I found this quite difficult. I'm picking. Oh, there was immediately an accident as well. So here's my opportunity, right? So this is it. I have been handed on a silver platter the opportunity to get into the points. There's a safety car. I have the ability to change my tyres, and then I look at them, and they're worn because again, this is based on the thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So obviously, up to the start of the race, you've started on the tyre that the Piastri is on. You've used the tyres he'd used, and throughout the weekend as well. So even down to like the things like the tyres that have been returned, those are the actual tyres that McLaren returned for this race up to the point you've started at. So yeah, it's quite an unfortunately time safety car for you, right? Like really going onto a medium here, I guess, would be the best. But yeah, he doesn't have any left. McLaren they had returned them in real life. So yeah, you're having to react to the situations exactly how the team would have done, you know, if there had been a safety car at this point in the race. Or,
that touches on a really crucial point, and I think, Steve, you put this really nicely when we talked about this earlier. So we're recreating the race moment by replicating the conditions exactly as they were up to that point.
Yeah.
But from then on, you're trying to do better than what happened in that case. But so is every other driver. And from that perspective, it's anyone's game. Any event that could happen really could happen. You're sort of off the rails at that stage onwards, right?
Yeah, I think like you were describing, it's like the butterfly effect, right? Like if you're telling your driver to be aggressive and they hit someone, right? Maybe they didn't in the race, but that can happen. And the same with obviously the AI and the other drivers as well. So yeah, exactly as you say, we're giving you this as close to as we can to reality's starting point for you to then go and kind of play out a challenge from it. So stuff like the weather and things like that we are setting those. You know, those are set correctly, even down to the track temperatures and the air temperatures at the time of the start of the race moment or the race if it's a starting grid.
Sure. So yeah, events like crashes, safety cars coming out, effectively will change each time you redo one of these moments.
Yeah.
So yeah, like in real life, it's going to be a little bit of skill, but also maybe a little bit of luck involved each time you play.
Yeah.
See, I was confident here, and then both Bottas and Zhou also pitted under the safety car, and I thought I was going to capitalise and not have any scary drivers behind me. But Bottas is a terrifying driver to have behind you on a new set of tyres. So just about everyone catches up with the safety car there. Poor Nick De Vries doesn't get the opportunity, but we come back to the green flag racing with quite a strong opportunity, but also the tyres aren't great. They could be better. Look at this. I'm sorry. I had to keep doing it because I just love it. It's just great. It's great. I think that me changing the camera there so quickly was I've got to stop doing this because I just can't sit in this entire video in the cam mode. But we were talking about driver development a little bit there, and whilst we go through, and again we're looking at the driver confidence, we talked about how the F2 and F3 drivers will gain or lose performance based on how they gain or lose stats based on how they perform in their championships. Can we touch on the driver development for F1 drivers in the game? Because that's again another area that last year we had a lot of feedback on from the community. Something we really wanted to look at for this year. Can we talk about that and also how it goes into them potentially getting older and stuff like that?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, one of the key pieces of feedback was the driver development. It was very sort of I don't know what the right word is. It kept going up and up, right? You just gain points and you put them into the relevant skill areas and watch your driver improve over time, and as they got older they kept improving, kept adding points. So now it's a lot more natural how they develop over time. So what will happen is if your driver is in the car performing well, they will gain experience, and rather than just clicking on the button and watching the points go up, you will actually set areas that you want them to focus on for training. So that might be you want them to focus on overtakes or something. There's various options available, but the idea is that if they perform well, you will then improve in one of those attributes in that area. So there are multiple attributes that you will still see, and you can still see all the points and things. I know everyone loves reading the points for the drivers, and obviously people agree or disagree on the ratings, and you'll see those ratings change based on the development areas you've set. But alongside that, you will also need to make sure that driver has consistent experience in a race to continue improving. And this will also factor into their age. So as the drivers get older, you will need to keep pushing them more and more, and they need to keep getting those consistent race positions in order to continue improving. So if you have a driver who's maybe got a little bit older and isn't spending time in the seat for whatever reason, then they have the chance to actually regress in terms of their overall skill points. So they can, if you just leave them to sort of, I don't want to say rot because that's a really terrible term, but if you don't give them the time in the seat, or if they constantly perform badly, then there is a chance, they will start to see their rating drop.
I'll come out and say it. Look, once they've peaked, it's time to maybe start looking at F2 and F3 drivers. Then you're going to learn more quickly.
Brutal.
And give them the experience.
That's the kind of team principal you are then, Bruce. That's it, straight out the door. One bad race and you're gone, that's it. A couple of people in chat noticed there that I gave team orders to Norris. This was really brutal. This is me being a brutal team principal. So I need Oscar Piastri. To win this objective, I need Oscar Piastri in the points. I don't need Norris in the points. So my entire logic for this was just to jump straight into the fact that I could just dive in and immediately get Piastri his points. So Norris, forget about it. Don't fight teammate. I don't care where you finish. He's not happy. He lost his confidence because he got overtaken. So he's going to have a terrible race. But I got Piastri into the points, at least right now. That was my main thing. So that was my strategy, was just to be completely brutal.
Well, it's a valid strategy in a way, right?
I know, and look, Taylor was saying, but Norris, I know, I love Norris as much as the next person, but it's all about the objective. The objective of the race moment is to win the race moment. I'm not here to win a career. I'm not here to win a career with Norris. I just needed to win this objective. So, yeah.
Slow stop as well.
Yeah, he had a slow stop. Yeah,
he's going to be gutted.
Yeah,
he's fuming. Norris is going to be absolutely fuming with me for this. But luckily, he's a team player, so he's all right.
But what you've just touched on, I think, cuts to the heart of what this mode offers, which is the ability to focus on a singular instance of a race or a moment in a race. You're not worrying about the longer term campaign. Maybe you've got a separate campaign going, but you just want a one-off session, see if you can beat the real outcome and just enjoy the game that way. And it allows you to play differently than you would otherwise, where you have to consider, say, the longer term season or things like that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that's what I like about it. I like that I can then, I can go from, I can have my narrative with my career and that, and then I can jump into this, especially as it updates every weekend, and go, yeah, do you know what, actually, I'm going to jump in and see what the race moment is for this race, and see if I can beat it. Hopefully I'll do better than I did with this one. We've still got Piastri in the points right now. There was a safety car. That's ending again. This was a hectic race in real life. My version of this race started hectic and just kind of carries on being hectic. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, we've a few more things to talk about as well. We've got a few other little bits to go through whilst we watch this footage. I can't remember. I can't pit him because I've got these tyres. I just have to salvage these tyres for as long as possible. Whether I actually managed it or not is a different matter, and we'll see. But some other little bits to talk about whilst we're here. Something that a little bit of an additional thing. More team radio. Jumping into that a little bit.
Yeah, so I just want to address one thing very quickly, that people are saying there's a lot of safety cars. Do please keep in mind that this is work in progress, and there's obviously lots of ongoing balancing around things like that, and all of the other stuff you see as well. So please do keep that in mind, just because, there are an awful lot of safety cars in this race. And a few eagle-eyed people will also notice issues with the things like camera placement and stuff like that on the cars. Just, please do keep in mind it's a work in progress.
Yes, we are still a little bit away from it.
Just because I know there's been so much really cool stuff that's changed, like things that have been fixed recently as well, that, I'm obviously well aware of as the cycles go so quickly.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
Looking back to Team Radio, so this is one of the things that was obviously a big feature for 22 that people were in some cases quite surprised by, right? Because Team Radio is one of these things where it occurs in real life, and obviously it's a big part of the race experience. And we had a lot of Team Radio in F1 Manager 22 from the real world, whether that's drivers or engineers. In 23 there's even more of it, but there's also a little bit more context to it. So there's, I don't know if you'll have seen it in these videos quite yet or whether it's coming up, but you'll see communications between you and your race engineer about the drivers in front and behind.
Yes.
And it will actually call them out by name.
I think
really
that literally happens. It may have already happened, or it's about to happen. Where
DRS and
yeah,
Right,
and the engineer says you've got Magnussen ahead of you. I think, which I think he says you've got Magnussen ahead of you. Which I was like, whoa, okay, yeah, cool, I do, that's right.
Yeah.
And in fact, we've just seen there as well my ERS battle assist, which is another new part of the game, right? Can we just go into a little bit about what ERS battle assist is and what that means?
So it's a new way to use the ERS, slightly different from last year where we had the overtake and defend modes. This kind of so we've kind of replaced them with the battle assist now. It almost lets you use them kind of in combo with any of the other modes we had, so neutral, deploy, and harvest. So you still have your 4 different ERS modes, and then the battle assist on top of that effectively gets the driver to kind of reserve some of that energy they have for the lap that you've kind of allotted them to use for areas where they might be battling, whether they're overtaking or defending another driver. So they'll be slightly slower because they're not using it for the optimal lap time, but they'll be, in theory, they'll be better at overtaking and defending with that on. And as I say, we had similar things with that with overtake and defend in the previous game, but we've now made it into its own option, the battle assist, that you can toggle on or off, so you can use it in tandem with any of the other LRS modes you have. So you can still be harvesting energy if you need to harvest energy because you're low, but tell them, use the little energy you are allowed to use
When
it to try
when
and
you
defend
need
this
to,
position
yeah.
or attack. We've also added a new ERS mode as well, the top-up mode, which sits between harvest and neutral. Now you have a middle ground there where you'll save a bit every lap, so you'll slowly kind of tick up, but you won't be as slow as harvest because you're still using more energy. So there's it's a nice middle ground there. For me, I find it makes me want to use the ERS more because I'm less scared of using the deploy one and then having to harvest because I can use that top up as well in the middle. There's just more options I think now as a player.
Yeah, it's something that I found very handy on this race moment particularly because I was desperate to hold the position. Bottas behind, even Zhou not that far behind as well. Having 2 Alfa Romeos behind me, absolutely terrifying. I sat on this rear wing camera for a while, and this is one I really like actually. I think I even switched to one of the cars that's chasing me for a little bit as well at some point. I think it might be a little bit later. But yeah, it's something that is I'm always paranoid of is the interval behind me and trying to keep away. So having that battle assist, another option, like you say, just to kind of make sure that you're keeping a little bit of energy there. ERS so important for this kind of thing. It's
is the battle assist is it a feature that's built in or is that a toggleable option?
As it's always available to the player, and the player can toggle on or off whether the driver's using the battle assist.
Sure.
They're smart as well, so if you've kind of got it toggled on but there's no cars near them, so they're like 10 seconds away from anyone, they'll still deploy it for lap time because obviously there's no point in conserving it on this lap. It's up to the player to toggle that on when they think it's applicable, and it defaults to off.
Oh, it's a really smart feature in that way then. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so we've got 13 laps left. I've managed to do it. I have sacrificed Norris. I've absolutely ruined Norris's entire weekend for this. He's going to be saying that he just wants his taxi straight to the airport, I think, at this rate. But we'll see how he does. I don't know. I think
you've thrown him to the wolves.
I think I throw these tyres to the wolves as well. Unfortunately,
there's a long way.
There's a long way to go on soft tyres that have only got 44% left on them.
Predictions in the chat now, please, for final position.
Yeah, go on, chat. What do you reckon? Do you reckon? Give me a position. I want to see P and then the number based on what you think I'm actually going to get. P9, P10, P11, P12, etc. P2 says Mr. Prime. Yeah, okay, we'll see. PDNF. That's not a real position. Get out of here. P20, brutal. Well, there's already 5 drivers out, so P20 would be a difficult one. We'll see. But there we go. Look, always defend. Please defend. Please defend Piastri. You've got like 3 cars right behind you. Please make that car as wide as possible. Oh gosh, this was
I think this comes back to some we were talking about difficulty earlier as well. Though obviously, they're not just trying to beat you, right? They're trying to beat each other too. So if you can hold cars, get them fighting each other as well as you, that can potentially help out. Or maybe not in this case, because it's going to get past you. And the same with the tyre temperatures as well. Like, if the other teams are struggling for tyre wear or their tyres are overheating, they're going to have to conserve as well. And by holding a car behind you, again, as we said earlier, with you were struggling with the dirty air, they're going to struggle with it too if you can kind of hold them in that zone. So, which again, they're all kind of things that teams take into account in real life as well. So, it's more. There's more depth there now, I think, from the combination of the more difficult stuff.
Yeah, I found this, to be a real challenge. You can see that, I started 11th, I think, and I've battled up to 9th, back to 10th.
Piastri's not really feeling it though.
He's not. No, he's not feeling it. He is struggling. Like I said, that tyre wear is going to be playing a real factor here. I would have loved to have had Norris stay directly behind because that would have been really good for just holding back other drivers. Sure. But yeah, this was tricky. This was really, really tricky. I didn't manage the tyres very well at all, and this is good. This is a good way for you to kind of jump in and kind of learn a lot of these things as well, because it's a quick scenario to jump into, right?
And you can just retry it as well.
Yeah,
right?
There is a restart button.
You can do it from the pause menu. You can retry. So you can try different things and see kind of what works. And obviously, like, it's the same kind of data for the tyres and things like that as it will be in your career mode, right? So you can also kind of feel out how long does the hard last at Australia, for example, and things like that as well, so that you can take learnings from it to your
That's
career.
a really cool application I hadn't considered. Maybe you've got a super important race coming up in your main campaign season. Yeah, you do want to get a bit of practice in on the particular circuit.
Yeah, I think that's a nice segue into something I want to talk about in a second, actually. So let's do a quick recap of where we are. I appreciate that we're on the Twitch front page right now. So if you're just joining us, we are chatting over my potentially shambolic gameplay of F1 Manager 2023 whilst I fail to keep Piastri in the points. You can pre-order F1 Manager 23 from yesterday. The game will be launching digitally on July 31st. It will be available, if you pre-order, you're going to get 3 of these extra race replay scenarios. The base edition is going to be $44.99, $54.99, and €54.99, and the digital deluxe edition will be £54.99, $64.99, and €64.99. And that digital deluxe edition is going to get you 4 days early access, as well as 12 extra exclusive scenarios for race replay. Again, look at these tyres. It's not going well, especially on the left.
Yeah.
How are you feeling at this point in the race?
Sweaty, I would say, is the word of how I'm feeling at this point. I've lost the position. I've failed my objective so far with 8 laps to go. Yeah, it's not looking good. My Norris plan of burying him to try and save me. I mean, it might stop me getting 14th and 15th, and now there's yellow flags. Does this become a safety car? Does it? I can't remember if this becomes a safety car. I don't. Did it? We're going to find. No, we didn't. Okay. Yeah, it's a scary one. This is tough. You know, I would have. I can imagine this puts me in the scenario of being Oscar Piastri battling for that point, and makes me feel quite sorry for him for having to sit through my team management.
It's interesting to call out as well. There's some extra risk this year with the tyres again in the kind of area you're in now, where you've got that kind of yellow warning there.
Yes.
They're into quite a high level of wear. Now you can actually get punctures when you're in that kind of zone, so your tyres are heavily worn, as we see in real life, from hitting kind of the riskier curbs, like the high curbs, stuff like we see in real life. Yeah, if you've already got a worn tyre and you hit some of those, it can immediately puncture effectively, dropping you down to zero and forcing you to pit in that case. Obviously, yeah, there's a couple of ways you can kind of work around that. Obviously, you can manage your tyres to avoid that happening, getting into that kind of area, but also the avoid curbs command, which was in the game last year as well, because it's those curbs that kind of trigger the punctures. If you're avoiding the curbs, you can use that to mitigate the risk as well. So, yeah, so there's another potential risk here for Piastri, because his tyres are so worn that they might actually just go bang.
As you said.
As you can see, he literally just says, "I can't look after them anymore. They're dead."
And they're underheating as well now.
Yeah, it's we're not having a good time with the temperatures. I am trying to conserve them. 5 laps short, and I'm already on 18% wear. And like you said, there is now a risk of puncture at any point.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I kind of went into preservation mode at this point. This was very much I don't think this has worked out for me. I'm really interested to see if people in chat. I want actually messages on Discord when you play this race moment. I want to see how you did, and this is something I think I'm going to keep up with you throughout this game. I want to find out. I'm going to be playing all of these, and we're going to be showing more of this on stream as we come throughout the game. So I want to see how you guys do on these race moments compared to me, because I thought I was pretty good at the last game and I didn't do very well at this, and I'm very interested to see how you guys do.
Well, if you are watching this and you do think you can do better than Steve, you can join us over on Discord, where he'll be sharing each race replay as they come in live. We mentioned earlier, in case you missed it, race replay is this new mode where you have both starting grids and race moments, like you're looking at now, and they'll be added with each race as they happen in the live season, and as Steve has mentioned, he'll be taking part. So yes, go join us on the Discord. Where can they do that? Yes,
and we have a Discord link in the chat just now, by the looks of it. There you go. Yeah, come and join our Discord community. Sometimes I'm in there on a race weekend as well, just having a little chat with people whilst we watch the races. So yeah, come in, and then when these come out, I'll be really, really interested. We've got a community screenshots channel. There's a community clips channel as well, so you can jump in there and prove to me that you're better than me at this game. Because yeah, I think this race moment thing will be a really cool feature for just community engagement with you guys, and just seeing how you guys get on with the specific challenges. And yeah, I think that's going to be quite exciting to see. There we are, last lap. It's done. I'll be honest with you guys. It's completely done.
I
There's-
feel like you're not going to
the
gain.
tyres.
I
4
don't think
places.
I'll be gaining at least 4 places on this this final stint here. It's not gone very well at all. I absolutely mullered Norris's tyres and strategy. Piastri half a lap down shambles. Yeah, it really was. The tyres are genuinely. I think they might as well just actually be rims at this point. There's nothing left. There's no temperature in them. I'm desperate to conserve them. I'm in a heavy car as well. There's more fuel in the car than there ever should be at this point. And yeah, we've had an absolute shambles and done that. So
When you said that, I just had Ian Beale in my head blubbering.
I've got
about your
nothing
tyres,
left.
got nothing.
yeah, I did not do very well here at all. But there we go. That's my attempt at a race moment. And you, I'm sure, will be much better at them than me when it comes to the game coming out on July 31st.
We want to see you do better.
Yes.
Pre-order now.
Pre-order now so that you can prove it. So yeah, you'll get this little round. There we go. I failed. I skipped through this very quickly, but yeah, it will show you the results there. I was annoyed. I think I just went, do you know what? Forget it.
Yeah, we didn't get a chance.